Sup tank nerds, Lottie here with another video. Today we're going to be having a look at one of our recent misadventures in the world of tanking. High up in the hills of Wanya, Victoria, the air is cool and the ground wet. Through the trees and valleys, the roar of engine sound. We are in a playground, after all. Tanks are cool, of this there is no doubt. The vehicles that reside in the world of armoured warfare stand apart from the mundane and the ordinary. Metallic beasts designed to take any hit, throw any punch, travel any terrain, and break through any obstacle in the search of victory. That is, of course, today's topic. What happens when these marvelous beasts stop in their tracks? Despite their imposing silhouettes and deafening howls, tanks and associated armored vehicles are really just big softies. If you treat them right, they'll look after you. If you bugger up, they'll as quickly bite you in the backside. What was once a multi-ton killing machine is now an equally heavy pain in the ass. Myself and Peter found ourselves with a rather large pain in the backside very recently after a routine joyride in a British 432 Mark I ended in a not-so-routine rescue attempt. For those of the uninitiated, this is what you would call an oopsie. As you can see, the track has begun to walk its way off. It is also under tension, making recovery quite difficult. So let's get into it. What happened? How did it happen? And how are we gonna fix this? The first one's pretty easy. The vehicle as it sits is currently in the process of walking its track off. If you've ever had a bike chain come off while you're riding, it's a pretty similar concept. The chain, or in this case the track, has had a sideways force pushed upon it. While in motion, this causes the track to slowly walk its way off the teeth. Under some circumstances, you can simply put the track back on by driving and applying a little bit of directional input. However, for us, we're a little beyond that, as the horns of the track have actually gone past the road wheels. Track horns, or guide horns, are normally there to make sure that this sort of thing doesn't happen. Unfortunately, once they do go beyond a certain point, it is rather unlikely to be able to put a track back on because they will hold it outside of the track's normal operating range. They can also cause damage to the track itself or potentially the road wheels if you try and force them back on. While neither of us were present for this incident, it is pretty obvious as to what happened by the telltale scars on the nearby surfaces. After cresting the nearby mound, the vehicle has slid somewhat sideways on its descent. Furthermore, on the other side of the mound, it would appear that the vehicle has tried to climb and once again slid down back into the hole. With that out of the way, there is only one thing left to do, and that's recovery. If it wasn't obvious from the get-go, we are working in a rather hideously muddy condition. And I did in fact get stuck myself before we could even get to the recovery process. The first step is to split the track, sometimes called breaking the track, simply being removing a pin from one point and separating the track links. From here we can actually reverse the vehicle somewhat to help remove the track by walking it completely off, although this is easier said than done. Due to a lot of the heavy rain and awful mud conditions, we actually waited somewhat just for the mud to dry up so we could stand around and actually work on the vehicle effectively. The good thing about having a rather large collection of vehicles at your disposal is that there is always a bigger tank. So the next step was to bring out the big guns and help pull it all out. While there are dedicated vehicles to such recovery, often called ARVs or Armored Recovery Vehicles, for the purposes of what we're doing today, we only needed to have a large vehicle to just pull the vehicle out. Given the extreme conditions, making it this far with any vehicle is an achievement on itself, let alone trying to recover another vehicle. Fortunately, with their very aggressive track nature, Centurions are very good at traversing this style of muddy environment. What we were doing is a 2-in-1 recovery process. First, we would strap the Centurion to the 432 armored personnel carrier and pull it out of the ditch. Because the track is no longer connected to the vehicle, it would be left behind. So, once it's made its way out of the ditch, we would simply strap the track to the front of the 432 and recover it all together. All in all, this was a fairly painless process, and the recovery actually went rather swimmingly. I'll leave the rest of the video roughly unedited so that all of you tank nerds can hear the roar of a Centurion in full recovery mode. That said, in the next video we will cover the actual process of putting our dear 432 back together again. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe, and please enjoy the next few minutes of unedited tank content.